Hey guys, Engineer Wannabe here, and we are going to be doing a review on the Tudor Black Bay 36 Steel and Gold. Now this is a pretty special piece. I bought it about a little over a month ago, I think, and I was really excited. I've been thinking about it since it was released in Basel World 2019, and I tried to push it out of my head because I was not willing to pay the premium that the gold accents demanded, but eventually I figured, you know what, I'm thinking about this, I should probably just go ahead and pick the watch up. So I did. I've been pretty thrilled with it. Figured I'm in a position to do my initial review, but let's get into it. Okay, starting with the dimensions, we have, as the name implies, a 36mm case, and lug to lug, my calipers got 44mm. It is a little over 10mm thick. I think I'd say about 10.5 on my calipers, and the lug width is 19mm. Which, as I mentioned in a couple of my previous videos, is starting to get pretty common, at least in my point of interest. The bezel here is a brushed gold, I believe 18 karat gold bezel. It's got a very nice polished bevel, or the edge is nicely polished. The crown, I believe, it's really hard to find any a straight answer on Tudor's website, but I believe the crown is solid gold as well. And this watch comes on a bracelet, which I have here, which has rolled gold center links. It's a Jubilee style bracelet, rolled gold center links. I kept this off the bracelet for the review because I can show you how thick the rolled gold is. As you can see, it's not plated, and there's a fair amount of gold there. It's not a lot, and I do have some concerns about that, but we'll talk about that in a bit. The end links, however, have solid gold pieces. As you can see here. So these, what would you call these, accents, are solid gold. So there's a good chunk of gold there. I believe it's all 18 karat. Again, hard to find a solid answer on the specifics. So moving on to the watch itself, it's a pretty much a standard Black Bay. After that, we've got a screw down crown, 150 meters of water resistance. It has an ETA or ETA 2824. Of course, here we have the black dial model. There's also a champagne dialed steel and gold Tudor Black Bay 36. So this watch has been on my wrist for quite some time now, and I have enjoyed it quite thoroughly. It looks great on a strap that normally tapers down to, I would say it looks great on a strap that tapers down to 16mm, so 19 to 16. This of course is a 20mm strap that I modified. If you want to take a look at how I do that, go ahead and just click on my channel. It's about the third or fourth video in the past. But I really like the look of a tapering strap on this. It gives it a bit of a vintage style look. I also have it on a Hirsch Aristocrat, which is also a tapering strap, a black crocodile strap that tapers down to 16mm, and I think that looks really good. But that's just me, and I think it looks great on a regular taper as well. But it's a bit more pronounced on a 19 to 16, and I think that just adds to the charm. It's a really nice piece on the bracelet as well. So this watch wears fantastically on the bracelet. I'm just going to put the watch away while we take a look at the bracelet. We have a safety catch here with ceramic snaps, ball bearing snaps as well, and friction fit with ceramic ball bearings, so that it does not wear down over time. And it is very reassuring, feels very nice to use. A very nice swing arm deployant, swing arm clasp, and it integrates pretty well. As you can see, it has this Jubilee style look, integrates pretty well. It is interrupted here. Now the bracelet, as I mentioned, has rolled gold center links. It seems to be a decent thickness. I mean, it's definitely better than plated gold. So there's a fair bit of thickness there, and that is the nature of the beast. The centermost link is polished, while the outer links here are brushed. We've got polished sides, and of course it is adjusted by screws, so the links can be removed by screws. I have a 6.25 inch wrist, and it fits just fine. You can even take a few more links out, but this swing arm is kind of long, so I wouldn't recommend going much below 6 inches. If your wrist is any smaller, you might find the bracelet a bit uncomfortable, but your mileage may vary depending on the shape of your wrist. Now, one concern I do have about this bracelet is how this, when it's on your wrist, wears down on these two links for me specifically. Now, I'm not sure over years how that would affect the rolled gold here. If it was plated gold, it would have worn down pretty quick, but this rolled gold is holding up, so I'm not sure how it'll look in a few years. That is something to consider. It might wear through. I wouldn't be too concerned though, but it is a slight point of concern for me. I mean, one thing you could do is put a tiny piece of tape there once you know exactly where it touches, but that I'll leave that up to you if you would want to do that, assuming you have this watch. So let's get the watch back here. Alright, so like I mentioned, this has an ETA 2824. I have had happy and sad experiences with ETAs. This one is, I'd say, in the middle of the road. It runs really well. I have it running at around plus 5 seconds a day. It's not great, but it's not too bad. Winding this is very rough. I'm not sure if you can hear that. So it's not smooth and clean. It's a bit rough. I've had a Longines that had modified ETA 2824 that was nice and very nice and smooth when you were hand winding it. Again, it's no big issue because you'll only be hand winding this every once in a while when you pick it up after a certain amount of time, winding it to get it going and then putting it on your wrist, as it is an automatic, but not the greatest winding action, at least the model that I have received. The dial on this watch is a glossy black dial. It has golden semi-railroad track minute markers and very large applied indices, as you can tell. The hands, of course, are the infamous snowflake hands. We have a really big square or diamond, depending on how you look at it, on that hour hand, and it does take up a bunch of space on the bezel, on the dial as well. So it has been a point of contention with a lot of collectors but I find the snowflake hands really charming. In the end, it works out to be a very pleasant looking watch. We have the printed Tudor logo there with the Tudor shield and rotor self-winding at the bottom there. The lume on this watch is very strong, very potent. It'll definitely keep going through the whole night. So it is something that if you require lume, this watch definitely has you covered. It's very strong. This watch I find wears a lot bigger than the dimensions suggest. It's a 36mm watch, a little over 44mm lug to lug, but I feel it wears kind of like a 38mm watch. If you're familiar with Seiko watches, I would say it wears like the Sarb 033, 035. But of course, much nicer feeling on the wrist. It sits low and flat. The center of gravity, it feels really low. It's not top heavy, and it's a very pleasant watch to wear. One of my favorite everyday watches, I would say. So let's go ahead and throw it on the wrist. So like I mentioned, my wrist is 6¼ inches, and I think it wears perfectly for my wrist here. And it does wear really big, closer to that 38mm size, I feel, at least from my experience. One thing I don't really enjoy about this watch when it is off its bracelet is that you can see in between the lugs the brushing is really rough. It's not a smooth brushing. It's really rough brushing, and most watches I've had have a high polish finishing in here, and sure, that does get scratched up with solid end links, but it's not that visible on the wrist. This brushing, this really rough brushing, is very visible on the wrist, and it's one blemish in an otherwise excellent watch, I would say. Let me see if I can get you a better picture of that. There you go. Really disappointing. But again, it's something you notice once or twice, and then you kind of forget about it or accept it for what it is. So anyway, this has been a review of the Tudor Black Bay 36 Steel and Gold. I would say it's one of the best everyday watches I've had, and it dresses up very nicely. It also is a swimmable watch, and it's a bit different. It's something different than the usual Black Bay 36, which is very common. This is uncommon. It has a bit of visual interest with a brushed bezel, gold bezel, and a gold crown, especially once you take it off the bracelet. It's a bit more understated, and it's very nice. I appreciate the brushed bezel over a high polished bezel like the regular Black Bay 36, and overall this watch gets 2 thumbs up from me. Anyway guys, hope you enjoyed the review. Take care, hope you're staying safe and well, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take care, bye.